The Acts of Paul and Thecla tells the story of Thecla, a young noblewoman who, upon hearing Paul preach about faith and chastity, abandoned everything, her wealth, her family, even her fiancé. Arrested, humiliated, and sentenced to death not once, but twice, she stood before lions and flames with nothing but her faith to shield her. And somehow, miraculously, she survived. Not by sword or shield, but by divine intervention. Thecla didn't just follow Paul, she became something greater. A legend. A rebel saint. A woman apostle in a world that had no place, or name, for such a thing. The Acts of Paul and Thecla is believed to have originated in the 2nd century CE, likely in Asia Minor, modern-day Turkey, where early Christian communities were flourishing. Though not included in the canonical New Testament, the text was widely circulated among Christians, especially among women, due to its empowering portrayal of Thecla as a female disciple and spiritual leader. Scholars believe it was part of a larger work known as the Acts of Paul, an apocryphal collection attributed to a Christian writer named unknown, but possibly a presbyter from Asia Minor who was later condemned for composing it. Despite its unofficial status, the story of Thecla was deeply influential in early Christian thought, inspiring devotion, pilgrimages, and even shrines in her honor, particularly in places like Seleucia where her tomb was venerated for centuries. The story begins in Iconium, where Paul is preaching a radical new gospel, one that champions chastity, purity, and devotion to a spiritual life over worldly desires. Sitting silently at a window day after day is a young noblewoman named Thecla. She listens intently. And what she hears changes everything. Paul's message sinks deep into her heart. She is drawn not just to his words, but to the idea that she can belong to something greater, that her life can be more than marriage and obedience. She decides to follow Christ. But this is no small decision. Her family is outraged. Her fiancé, a wealthy man named Tamaris, is humiliated. They report Paul to the authorities. He is arrested. And Thecla, refusing to recant her newfound faith, is sentenced to be burned at the stake. But then, a miracle. As the flames rise around her, a sudden storm sweeps through the city. Rain pours from the sky. The fire is extinguished. Thecla walks away, unharmed. The people are astonished. Paul leaves the city, and Thecla follows him. But her trials are far from over. In Ansh, a powerful city official named Alexander becomes obsessed with Thecla. When she rejects his advances, he drags her through the streets and demands she be punished. This time, she is sentenced to death in the arena, thrown to wild beasts. She prays. She does not cry out. And again, something extraordinary happens. The lioness, rather than attacking her, lies down at her feet, as if to protect her. One beast after another fails to harm her. The crowd, stunned by the spectacle, begins to wonder, who is this woman? Eventually, she is released. The governor, shaken by the events, frees her. Thecla is not only alive, she has become something more. A symbol. A legend. But she's not done. She seeks out Paul again and asks to be baptized. But Paul, cautious and perhaps bound by the rules of the time, tells her to wait. So Thecla takes matters into her own hands. She dives into a pool of water, surrounded by dangerous seals, declaring her own baptism in the name of Christ. Once again, she survives unscathed. At the end of the story, Thecla returns to her hometown, preaching and healing others. She cuts her hair, wears men's clothing, and continues to spread the gospel. She becomes, in essence, a female apostle, though no such title existed for women at the time. And that's what makes her story so powerful. The Acts of Paul and Thecla isn't just about miracles or martyrdom. It's about defiance. About breaking roles and rewriting destinies. About a woman who refused to be silenced, even when the world around her demanded obedience. And in a world where early Christian women were often hidden behind the names of men, Thecla's voice still echoes. A rebel saint. A spiritual warrior. A legend born not of bloodshed, but of unwavering faith.